everyone. I'm trying something new and we're going to see if we like it. This is a recap of my most recent podcast and vlog episode, and the actual full-length episode will go into much more depth, but I wanted to test it out and see how you feel about a bite-sized moment with me to explore the topic of this episode so you can learn quickly, but also decide how deep in the creep you want to get with this particular topic. So, episode 33 talks about hyper-independence. The episode starts by sharing what it is, then goes into why someone might have that tendency, and finally it talks about ways to heal and reset to a more healthy state of independence. So let's dig in quickly, and you can dig deeper if you want to learn even more with the full-length episode. Let's start with what hyper-independence is. If independence is a healthy state of relying on yourself and others, it is a good combination of both to survive and function in this world. We have two other ends of the pendulum that exist when those become unbalanced. When we rely too much on others and hold a belief that we can't do anything for ourselves and have to rely on others for almost every need we have, that's what's called codependence. Sound familiar? If you want to learn more about that, let me know at juliebethany.com on the homepage where you can vote for what topics you want to hear me address next. On the other hand, when we rely too much on ourselves because we've learned that we cannot trust others, we become hyper-independent and function as much as possible on our own without the help of others. And I mean physical and emotional support here. Self-soothers united, but to an extreme. I have this tendency, and that's why my research led me to share with you what I found as I am still healing from it. Okay, recap on the recap. The healthy balance of relying on ourselves and others to support us physically, emotionally, and as we live life in general is called independence. If we rely too heavily on others to meet our needs, we are codependent. If we rely too heavily on ourselves to meet all of our needs, we are hyper-independent. Both those unhealthy responses are trauma responses, aka we went through something that forced us either to believe we couldn't rely on ourselves or that we could not trust others. If you are codependent or hyper-independent, it's not your fault, but you are empowered to decide what happens next and if you want to work toward reaching a healthy, independent state of being. Next, we're going to talk about what causes hyper-independence in particular. I mentioned trauma creates a need for us to rely on ourselves, and that can come about in one or two or both parts of our lives, namely trauma we experienced as children or trauma we experience as adults, or both. My case is both, making that reaction that much harder to work through, but it's so worth it. It's worth it. Let me work it. Anyway, childhood trauma that causes this is often a parent or parents or a guardian, whoever raised you, to not acknowledge your emotional needs fully. And spoiler alert, it's probably because they were raised that way too. And now it's finally appropriate to talk about mentee bees in public. Now, familiar phrases you heard if this was your experience might sound something like, stop crying, you're so dramatic, it's not that big of a deal, just move on. You learned from that person or people in your childhood that your emotions didn't matter to them or weren't validated, and even if they did, that's how you likely translated it, and you learned to keep your emotions stuffed down inside and suffer in silence. I have this habit as an adult, friends. I'm working on it, but it's real ingrained in there. Next, trauma in adulthood looks like people like bosses who might have told you the same thing or, more commonly, because they aren't parenting you, emotionally abused you. I had this experience in a relationship with an ex-fiance and our friends. They were mind-blowingly doing what they thought would help. Really. And it made it worse. But I learned from that experience that I could not trust people, so I had to rely entirely on myself. Sound familiar? If it does, it's okay. Let's talk next about how to heal from this. And if you want to hear more about my story, I delve into it more in the full-length episode, which I'll pop into the show notes to hear all my trauma. Finally, the ways to heal from this look like learning who you can trust, and trusting people with small tasks and emotions first, and reminding yourself that you don't have to do it alone. You can start by taking inventory of the friends you do have and who you know you can trust or who you want to see if you can trust, and entrusting them with small things first. This can look like asking someone to help you clip your cat's nails, which is a feat to give her little toes a mani-pedi while she's so unhappy, but she's always at the end of my video episodes, so I'll have her make an appearance here too. Or it can look like entrusting someone with a small emotion first, like telling someone you're tired, and asking what they do to relax and feel refreshed. Small steps first. And it's also promising yourself you'll reach out when you're suffering. When you're sad, it helps so much to talk to someone else. And when I forced myself to reach out to someone when it was that time of the month, or I was dealing with something hard or having an off day, it made me feel so much better. So really challenge yourself to celebrate your independence, but also leave room for others to be there for you. And that goes both ways, right? For you to be there for them too, and build those close relationships that show you that you can trust others with the small things and thus later the large things when you really need it. I have more examples in the full-length episode if you want to hear those too. Well, friends, thanks so much for joining me, and definitely hit a like there for if you like having this additional episode recap too, and I'll see how I can integrate it more into my episode planning for you. I'll also take a survey on Instagram at JulieBethany, so definitely participate and let me know your thoughts. And subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to hang out with me more here. And you can see the full-length episode or listen in your ear if you want to dive even deeper. I'll see you soon, and I challenge you, trust someone with one small thing today first. See what happens. See you next time. Okay, we're going to go get Kippen. Here we go. I did not buckle this the full way. Don't judge me. It's comfy. Come on. She knows. Oh, good girl. Oh, we got her. Listen, don't judge me that I didn't buckle this the full way. Say hi. Say hi to everyone. Hello. Say hi. She said, I was taking a really lovely nap and now I would like to leave you. Okay, thanks, Kippen. Don't worry, I'll give her some treats for that.